The pick is in.
The Baltimore Ravens have made a selection in the 2024 NFL Draft alongside Locked On College Football host Spencer McLaughlin. I'm Tanitra Batiste, and we are joined by Kevin Ostreicher of Locked On Ravens to break down the Ravens selecting Nate Wiggins with the number 30 pick. So, Kevin, corner and offensive tackle were maybe the two most glaring needs for the Ravens. Why do you think they decided to go corner at 30?
I think for the Ravens, they've been a BPA team for as long as many can remember. And Nate Wiggins, to them, was the best player on their board. John Harbaugh talking after the pick, saying in the defensive meeting rooms a couple of days ago, he said, it wouldn't be crazy if Nate Wiggins fell to us at 30. And that he did. He's a speedster at corner, 4.28 speed, has 6'1" height. So he does have the length. The thing that maybe turns some people off to Wiggins is he's slender, slighter frame, but he can run with anybody. He does show willingness in the physicality aspects of the game. I think for the Ravens, after losing Ronald Darby and having some uncertainty at corner on their roster after this year, it was a no-brainer for the Ravens to dip into that pool. Kool-Aid McKinstry saw on the board, Baltimore taking Nate Wiggins over him and a couple of other really talented ones as well. But I think for the Ravens, they trust their board, and Wiggins was a guy they graded very highly.
Indeed. And when you see him and thinking about where that Baltimore secondary is right now, what do you think is maybe his biggest asset to be able to maybe contribute, say, day one?
I think one of the things Baltimore really values is versatility in their secondary, especially when you talk about his ability not only to play on the outside, but if the Ravens really want to, they can experiment putting him in the slot. They can put him deep if they need to. The Ravens love versatile defensive backs, guys that can play multiple different positions and have multiple different roles. And Wiggins has shown that he can play in a lot of different areas of the field. And this also allows Baltimore to be more versatile and flexible with some of the other players on their roster. They can move Marlon Humphrey inside if they want to. Baltimore loves having 3 outside cornerback rotations, having 3 really quality players you can stick on the outside in any given moment. Plus their slot corner situation right now, they have 3 guys that can contribute. So for Baltimore, they have been a team that invests in secondary, invests a lot of money, invests a lot of high-end draft capital. It's no different here for the Ravens. Not that cornerback was Baltimore's biggest need. I think, again, offensive line was the one everybody was looking at. There wasn't an offensive lineman rated high enough on their board to take it 30, so they take the guy that they felt most comfortable with in Wiggins. And for a lot of people, it seems like the pick has been very well received in Baltimore for the most part.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I was thinking about Doug Mallory and how excited he might be that it is a rarity where you say, wow, what if? And of course, we know that came from Harbaugh, but what if the guy that we want is actually there and available at 30 or wherever you're picking and you actually get that? And like you said, for the Ravens nation to be pleased with that and for you guys knowing that the Ravens were so close and just have a few needs to maybe get them over the hump and maybe get back to the Super Bowl, that's a really good pick and a solid pick for them to be going in that right direction for them in this next postseason. For more on the Ravens, subscribe to Locked On Ravens on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And for you, Spencer, let's take it back to Wiggins' days at Clemson. What did you see the biggest upside for him during his days at Clemson?
Yeah, it's high-end speed and coverage ability. You heard him talk about the versatility there, and I think a lot of that stems from the 4.28 that he logged at the combine. That'll do. That'll get the job done. You're not going to see a lot of 40 times that are under 4.3, and when you have somebody like that, you feel like you can put him against a variety of targets because he's going to be able to run with anybody, because he's not going to just get burned on the outside. And if you continue to improve and refine his technique at an NFL level the way that it needs to be, there's no reason he can't be a high-level defensive back. The one thing is he does need to improve his ability to support in the run game. I think that's probably the biggest weakness in his game, but if that happens, then I think that he can be a really, really solid defensive back for the Ravens.
And he will need to be, because when you look at that competition, of course, I'm thinking about what goes on with the Cincinnati Bengals and with the Cleveland Browns, and maybe an outside chance that Pittsburgh will get its offense together. It'll be good for the Ravens to shore up.
Well, and don't forget the Chiefs.
Yeah, and listen, I was just about to say, to even get out of that division, right? It's going to be a challenge. Yeah. And then, like that you've got to then face off against the Chiefs. For continuing coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.